If you guys are prepared to spend 100 million to ruin the lives of Miss Lively and her family, we are sure you can spare a few for your daughter. Hi, and welcome to Blossom Talk. I'm Kjersti Flaa, and here on my channel, I talk about my good and bad experiences in Hollywood and working as an entertainment reporter. And as you know, a lot about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni and Ryan Reynolds and everyone else involved in the crazy legal drama. So yesterday I managed to mispronounce a name again. I'm sorry. I did say Brandon Friedman at one point. His name is obviously Brian Friedman, and he is Justin Baldoni's lawyer. Now I can almost pretend like I'm doing it on purpose in every episode just to make sure that you guys are paying attention. And thank you guys so much for correcting me. I really appreciate that. I do not take it as an insult or anything like that. As you know, English isn't my first language. So I do sometimes say something that is wrong grammatically, or I would say a word incorrectly. So anyways, so a lot of you guys have sent me the tip that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively was on P. Diddy's party list. There is a website that are naming all the, I think almost like 100 celebrities that's been invited and appeared to at his parties. And there are politicians on the list. There are royals on the list. It seems like a lot of people were attending the parties. I mean, they were really known. I was living in New York at the time when he was throwing a lot of these white parties, and I remember people were talking about them. I never heard what was going on, like we now know what was going on really behind the scenes at these parties. But I don't know if we can assume that the people on this list knew what was going on there, but at least we know now that both Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have attended his parties. We'll see what more we can find out during his trial. I guess there's going to come out some more information about people that probably don't want that to be public. So, yeah. So there's a really tragic story going around right now where I've seen a lot of creators have talked about it, and Daily Mail had a story on it where it said that Justin Baldoni and his PR team are facing horrific death threats and private health leaks as legal battle with Blake Lively rages on. I think these stories are so important to get out there, especially after we saw what The Guardian threw together the other day that I was talking about in one of my episodes, and how they were reporting on this. And now you see how Blake Lively's fans are reacting and acting and how they're threatening people. And the latest thing that someone did, I'm not saying that this person is a Blake Lively fan or whatever. I saw a picture of him. I can't imagine him being out there defending Blake Lively, and that's why he did this crime. But I don't think it would have happened unless Blake Lively had sued Justin Baldoni and doxed information, private information about the people involved. And as you know, Steve Sarowitz, who's the victim in this crime, is also the founder of Wayfair. And it's been very public that he's a billionaire. And according to Blake Lively's team, he has said that he's willing to spend $100 million to win this lawsuit for Justin Baldoni and Wayfair. That information, I think, was mentioned in her lawsuit. And as you know, a lot of these billionaires want to stay private and keep their information private because they're very easily targeted by people who are opportunists or people who want to hurt them, basically. So last week, according to prosecutors in Illinois, Steve Sarowitz and his family were attacked by this guy who first he set fire to a garbage can, and then he threatened to kidnap their daughter. And according to the text that the alleged kidnapper sent, he said, if you fail to comply, we will take his daughter's name hostage, and she won't make graduation. At that point, we will ask for more money. And then he said, if you guys are prepared to spend 100 million to ruin the lives of Miss Lively and her family, we are sure you can spare a few for your daughter. This guy was arrested, luckily, but this is really scary stuff. According to this article, another message was sent to the daughter, adding, "You guys are not untouchable. You can upgrade your security all you want, and that still won't stop us. We are prepared to ruin all your lives over a little bit of money. The next fire we start will be from the inside." And also, Blake Lively's team have been accused of doxing information of other people involved in this, amongst them Jed Wallace, who was mentioned in the CRD complaint that Blake Lively filed first with California Civil Rights Department, where she called him a hired gun, basically. And then later, when she sued Baldoni, she removed Jed Wallace from the claim, from the real legal claim. But he was already been outed, and he already received a lot of threats. And her team leaked private health information about this guy as well. And as you know, publicist Jen Abel and crisis manager Melissa Nathan has received a lot of threats. One of the employees at TAG, which is the agency group that Melissa Nathan runs, says that, "I've had to tell my child's school that we had death threats," the source says to Daily Mail. "We even had to build a gate for security because the court filings have essentially doxed us." This is so terrible. The thing is, here you have to remember, people like her, like publicists, they're regular people. They don't have big gates and security like Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively has. For them, I'm sure they're getting threats left and right, but these threats never get to them. So they probably don't even know about it. But with regular people that has kind of regular jobs and live in regular homes, these threats are really serious. And especially there's little children involved here. She has two small children under 4 years old. It's just awful. It says here that private home addresses have been leaked in the court documents, which have been pushed by Lively's team. I remember a few weeks ago, someone sent me a thread on Reddit with a list of all the threats that had been received for Baldoni supporters. There were threats of harassment and bullying. The list goes on and on. It's really long. And as I've said before, I got so many hate mails on Instagram and on my email. And since we're talking about arson, I'm going to share this with you. On March 7, I received this email. It was in the middle of, there was a lot going on with my Wikipedia page. I don't know if you follow that, but people were going in, changing up the information on my Wikipedia page. There was a real push from one side to create a lot of controversy around me and to discredit me as a journalist and to make me look controversial and to make it look like I was working with Justin Baldoni. So I talked about it here on my channel a lot, and I was contacted actually by the person who created my original page. And we spoke a little bit. And the thing is, my page was edited up to 50 to 100 times every single day. And in the middle of this, I received this email from someone calling themselves Clear Friend. I don't know what that means, if that's a code for something, but the person sending me this from an anonymous email saying that as long as you keep disrupting Wikipedia, there will come a time when we retaliate by setting fire at your home as retaliation. You must consider this as a final warning. I'm not joking at all, since I'm also behind some arson by proxy attacks in Russia. Some of my friends were responsible for the fires in LA because he was upset with LTA No Cal 100. Your last name known home address is, and there's an address, and your last known mobile number is, and they put my number. Yours truly, CFA, Clear Frienda. Okay, so when I received this, I felt like, it's not, it's never a nice thing to open your email and you're receiving someone threatening to burn down your apartment or your house. It is freaky that someone would even sit down and create an email like this and actually send a threat to you. For because I posted an interview with Blake Lively back in August when she was being rude, and because I've been talking about it a lot. I admit I've been talking about it a lot though. But these things, I wonder if Blake Lively's supporters are receiving threats like this. Of course, I've received awful hate mail as well that I don't even want to read up here because it's so horrible. So when I read the emails and text messages that they've been receiving, the team on Justin Baldoni's side, I was like, okay, yeah. I mean, I've been getting a lot worse than that. Anyways, there's a story in the Tribune today. Thank you for sending that to me. So here it says, they actually picked this up from that article in The Guardian that I talked about the other day, where they're saying that 80% of pro Baldoni tweets are inorganic. So it's the same guy who found out all of this during Depp versus Heard. And he says there, his name is Zuhan Chen. Zuhan Chen. He's the founder of Information Tracer. And according to him, that he said to The Guardian, 80% of pro Baldoni tweets show signs of inorganic activity. He reviewed the top 500 posts related to the ongoing Lively Baldoni lawsuit and identified suspicious patterns, including newly created accounts, repetitive posting, and single topic behavior. The tweets promote hashtags like Justice for Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively is a liar, and echo the coordinated content seen during For Depp Heard trial in 2022. And it says here in this article that in one message, PR advisor Melissa Nathan tells Baldoni's publicist, you know we can bury anyone. How many times have they used this text message? Oh my God. The Lively Baldoni case has also drawn attention from conservative commentators, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we talked about that so much. So here's what I want to know. If Baldoni's team is able to do this, why can't Blake Lively's team do the same? Don't they have bots that can, throw shade at Baldoni or put Blake Lively in a better light? Are they not doing it because they're so ethical? I mean, I'm saying if this were true, I don't believe it at all because I saw what happened personally. I saw what happened to my interview and I saw how organically it grew and it was shared everywhere. And the amount of messages I received from people who had seen it, that was organic, that was real people. Anyways, so if they're saying that this is possible, I mean, they were willing to file a sham lawsuit to get a fake subpoena to get hold of the cell phone of Jennifer Abel. So if they're willing to do that, why aren't they willing to use bots? Just a question. If that can fix everything and if that can really ruin someone's career, as they're saying, uh, which right now it seems like Blake Lively is more successful than ever, according to all the media out there. So this doesn't really make any sense. Also, where's the evidence of these bots doing this? You saying that they're new accounts doing it? Is that evidence enough? Go and find those bot plantations and show us some evidence that 80% of the pro Baldoni is fake. And when they're saying that 80% of pro Baldoni's tweets show signs of inorganic activity, the thing is, these are tweets. I don't know what's going on Twitter, but I feel most of the activity that people have been engaging in around this lawsuit has been on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. I don't think the most of the information is on Twitter and on Reddit, of course. And as we know, Blake Lively planted the biggest lies herself about someone in the New York Times. It's funny how someone pointed that out on a Reddit post that was going through what they included and what they excluded in that article. And when you see it again, it was just a reminder of how they worked. And here it says what's included and what's excluded. And here is Justin Baldoni talking to Jennifer Abel, and they're talking about, he's stressed out. I think this was in regards to all those points that he had to sign, and he was really scared that Blake Lively was going to probably leak that list and make him look like an abuser, which is basically what she did anyways. And they included this discussion that Jennifer Abel was like, we'll see what we can do. And Baldoni here shows that he is actually really worried about this. And what they didn't include in this, in their legal filing and in the New York Times article is that Jennifer Abel says to Justin Baldoni, the truth is your defense. You have done nothing wrong. And there is over a year worth of texts and paper trails and people who can go on background as your defense. And as it has become realized, the great lengths that she has gone to in order to cut you out of not just the film, but the promotion as well, the premiere, etc. We need to prepare, as she will also go through any great lengths with press. It's a good thing if we are prepared for the worst outcome, because then if and when it's not as bad, we are over prepared. They didn't put that in the article. And then they also didn't put Justin Baldoni sending her a big heart back. Just a reminder again of what that New York Times article and Blake Lively's filings were actually doing. And it's so frustrating to me to see how the press, the latest that we saw in The Guardian, how they're also cherry picking information to make this a story about conservative women hating on other women and want to make all of us creators women haters. Also, Ryan Reynolds is in Germany. Thank you. Someone from Germany sent me this video of him being on stage. You know, I think it was a tech industry thing that he was a guest at. He travels so much. He's like never still, and it's all about promoting himself and his businesses. And now he's here basically showing off what a good dad he is. If he was ever home, maybe we would believe it. But at that stage here, he gets a call from his daughter, Betty, who is the 5-year-old daughter who Blake Lively named her booze brand after, Betty Booze and Betty Buzz. Who names booze after their 5-year-old, or probably then 3-year-old, whatever, when she started doing that business. Anyway, so Ryan Reynolds is on stage pretending that I don't think that happened. Obviously, it was staged. He gets a call from his 5-year-old daughter, and this happens.
Tochter Betty anruft.
Hey, hi. You guys are on stage right now. Okay. She lost her tooth.
Says she lost a tooth. I was thinking, when you're 5, do you already lose teeth? And especially if she's that young, I think it's normal to start losing teeth around when you're 6 years old. And also, if she lost a tooth at 5, it probably was her first. And then he would be like, oh, she lost her first tooth. But the whole scenario is just like, when you know, like I talked about in my previous episode, you know that he sits and make up things, as Blake Lively said in that interview that I read from, where she said that he could work for Inquirer. And whenever he talks about our daughter is never true. And the fact that she basically called him on stage and he picked up when he was on stage. Yeah, no. So now we're like, oh yeah, Ryan Reynolds is such a nice guy and he's such a good father. Meh, meh. Anyways, that's it from you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And thanks again for sending me so many tips. I love you guys so much. You're amazing. You make my day every single day and make me really want to do this. And when you see the things that I talked about today, makes this, what we do here, so important. Calling out people and, actually reporting on what's really happening, not what Blake Lively is wearing, which is what their agenda is obviously all about. All right, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode of Flaa Talk, and I'll see you in my next episode. Bye.